Hello gentlemen, today I'm going to break down the November title update that just dropped. Now this is going to be a relatively short patch notes. There's only a few gameplay changes. One of them is actually a massive change that is going to make the game quite a bit better if it does work as intended. But if you guys want to read the full patch notes, as always, I'm going to include them in the description as well as the comment section. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so the very first bullet point is actually the massive change. Hopefully it works. And it's tuning to decrease dropped picks. So let's go ahead and get into it and talk about the specifics. It's right here. Tuning to lower the ratings threshold for catching interceptions on the competitive game style to decrease the number of dropped interceptions. And then there's a dev note. This applies to open catches since physical contact with the player or the ball can still cause the ball to be knocked out. To me personally, I don't really care if, it gets knocked out if you're in like a contested catch situation. It's really the open catches that drive me nuts. And I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people. Everybody wanted like one AP pick artist to help counteract this, but this is even better if it's tuned properly and you actually can catch those now, regardless of if the DB has like really bad catching stats in a competitive game style. If you throw right at basically just a DB, he should come away with a pick. That's how you actually introduce skill gap and get games to open up against people who are worse than you. Because me personally, I force people into mistakes all the time, but sometimes games stay close because you can't capitalize on mistakes. So this is a massive change. This is going to give back to the defense quite a bit if it does in fact work. For the second bullet point, it seems that they're basically just reverting a change that they made in a previous title update. And it's this one right here. Fix an issue causing undesired catch drops when the quarterback would get hit during or shortly after throwing the ball. Then it has a dev note here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to summarize it for you. Basically what it's saying is that in September, they introduced a change that made it so pass rushers can't just easily pick six you when you're throwing out of sack or something. They made it so that the pass rushers would just like drop the ball basically. But basically what it did was made it so your receivers were dropping the ball as well. Don't fully understand how they couldn't isolate that for just pass rushers, but it does say here that they're going to look into it, and then in a future title update, they will try to isolate it and just make it for pass rushers only. And then that'll be, I guess, the ideal situation. But for me personally, I just prefer it to be the way it was. I didn't think that my receivers were dropping that many balls from throw out of sacks. I just prefer that the defensive ends don't get easy pick sixes. But that's me personally. And to finish off the gameplay notes, we have a few minor things to talk about. One of them is actually pretty big if you play competitive Madden. So anybody who's kind of a sweat or something. And it's this one right here. Fix an issue allowing the ball carrier to have no fumble chance when diving. After this fix, ball carriers will have higher risk of fumbling when diving into traffic. Now, this is something that was incredibly common down towards the goal line because people would just kind of like call a run play. It could be like a fullback dive or it could just be a shotgun run. And people would just get like this super dive into the end zone. And there was really no penalty if he was hit. Like, I don't think I ever saw a fumble. So this is a really good change in my opinion because I think the dive was kind of busted. So that is definitely a good change for competitive Madden. Increase the size of the passing accuracy meter. I don't think that's a super big deal. But then we have this for people who like to use like empty formations with those like block and release, like those stock block and releases. Basically, this is just going to do a better job at making contact with blitzing defenders before they go out on their routes. And that's ideal, of course. I don't think these formations are that good personally, but if you guys like being super off meta and just kind of going around your playbook, this is going to be a good change in making sure that the pressure just doesn't come in immediately, because kind of the point of these delay blues is to give your quarterback extra time to throw down the field. Anyways, that's going to be it for the patch notes, at least for what I cover. If you guys want to read the full thing, like I said, description and comment section for the link to that. There's some likeness changes, some additional notes and stuff that you guys can check out. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did. Subscribe for more Madden 24 content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.